Okay.
Okay, here we are.
All right. Hello. I'm Mark Davenport, and I'm here with
Heidi Hörnlein.
All right. Yes. And we have created the Wisdom Factory as a forum for people who have experience, knowledge, and wisdom they want to share with the world. And for now, more than a year now.
Almost 1.5 years,
really.
we have done the weekly live broadcasts.
Yeah.
And we have had several seasons. One was called the Wisdom Technologies, and then we have conversations that matter. We have community gatherings.
And we'll have one right after this show. Well, we're interested in raising consciousness and spreading the wisdom of integral theory and show how it is used in practice. So we are coaches and counselors, and we're presently working on a series on relationships of life.
The series is not about the second half of life. The series is for all people.
Okay.
What we are doing for us is for the second half of life as we are.
Well, we're second half of life people. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so we are in this series now. It's about 4 months, and it's about wisdom in relationships, and we call that series Stop the Relationship. Grow your relations. And we have 14 people who are operating within an integral worldview. And you can find all the replays, including the after-show blabs. They are edited and with timestamps, and you can see them here. Yeah. I hope you can see that. bit.ly, WF in big letters, -- membership. Oh, yes. Gosh, I cannot learn these things by heart.
That's right.
Anyway, today we have still 3 more sessions, so we are quite at the end.
Getting towards it.
And today we have invited 2 people, 2 women, and one of them, Lisa, she has been opening our very first session of the Wisdom Factory in November, 1.5 years ago.
Long ago.
Thank you, Lisa, for doing that with us. It was great, and we have done a long journey since then.
Yeah.
Thank you. It's wonderful
Lisa,
to be here with you.
Yeah, say hello, Lisa. Okay. All right.
Hello.
Yeah.
Well, Lisa is an evolutionary entrepreneur, and I would say an integral evolutionary entrepreneur, but that's long, and a visionary coach, and she's an author. She's the founder of Interstate Coaching, I love that name, where she helps people who feel like something has to give and who have something to give to find their internal compass so they can make decisions that help them regain momentum and awaken to their highest potential. She's known for her compassionate, creative, and intuitive abilities, the creator of the Awaken Visionary Coaching Program, Hangout Strategies for Visionary Leaders Program, and the author of Breathe, Run, Breathe. Ancient breathing secrets to turn your daily run into an effortless, revitalizing, and mindful practice. But she can say that in one breath. And the creator of the Breathe, Run, Breathe fitness program. Okay. She's a runner.
Yes, she is. And now I talk about Kim Carpenter. She's saying about herself, I am talking about changing the world. We are the ones we've been waiting for. Nobody is coming to save us. We're it. Let's get cracking.
Okay.
And I so agree with you, Kim. And we met in a course where we were all about that some years ago, quite a few years ago. So, and she continues to say,
this is her words. So, what part do I play in all that? I help social change agents create businesses that make a difference while they also make a living. Important. Part business coach and marketing guru, and part activist and passionate supporter of children's rights, holistic education, and women's empowerment. And she is the VP of Strategic Operations for Lisa Czerny, who's at www.lisacherney.com. The Speak to Sell mentor for Lisa Sazovich, and she has managed and built 4 businesses to the $1 million mark. So,
Wow.
wow, okay.
And we didn't add your websites. Would you like both to add that?
Yeah, that would be great. There have been a few updates since we sent you those files a while back. I'm getting an echo on my end. I don't know. So Lisa and I have actually joined forces, and we have an organization called Wake Up and Change the World. You can find us at www.wakeupandchangetheworld. And our mission is really to help evolutionary entrepreneurs and social impact businesses with their online marketing strategy, engagement, marketing, and community building. So that is our mission and our purpose. And we do also have an organization called the Give First Alliance, in which we help business owners give back to causes that they care about. So Lisa and I are so excited to be here with you guys. You're both adorable. I didn't know how funny and adorable you were. So this is going to be so much fun. Thank you so much for having us.
So let's go over to Lisa, and you add your
corrections and additions there, yes.
Well, I think Kim got all of the corrections and additions since we're working full time together. So everything that she says, ditto. Make it easy for you guys.
Lisa, you have opened with us the Wisdom Factory, and you know that the Wisdom Factory is for a vision which we all want to bring into the world. Change the world. You have it in your title of your in your lower third, and what you're offering to the people. For changing the world, what do we need to do?
Well, my mentor would say we need to be outrageous lovers to change the world. We live in a world of outrageous pain, and the only response is outrageous love. And truly, as an entrepreneur, sharing your unique gifts and talents with the world, the most outrageous act of love that you can do is to be an entrepreneur and share those offerings with those who need them most in the world, those who need them most within your circle of influence and community, or really working at a global level. Doesn't really matter. So that's a really short and concise, but maybe just a little opener for how we can begin to crack this topic open.
Well, outrageous loving sounds good to me.
It sounds good to me. And loving means that you have somebody to love. Mm-hmm. So there we are right into the topic of relationships.
Mm-hmm. Immediately.
Kim, do you want to add something?
Sure. Well, I so appreciate you bringing this topic forward of relationship, because as I think about what is it really going to take for us to see positive change in the world, I think that is the foundation of everything. We need to acknowledge our relatedness with each other, different cultures, people who have different ideas than us, right? People who are at different stages than us, countries. You know, I think about, as Lisa said, the outrageous pain in the world today. If you really take a moment to sink into it, it's quite overwhelming. But I see that change can be made through connecting with other people and through really going beyond our comfort zone, you know, opening up to the possibility that we can be related, even if someone's so dramatically different. Or, you know, I look at what's happening in politics right now and I think, wow, there's some people out there, like, they think so differently than I do. How can I still stay in relationship to them as a human being? Just as another person on the planet. We're all doing the best we can here. So I think this idea of, like, how can we stay related, and not only to people, but even to the planet itself, our beautiful host that we get to live on, you know, that sustains our life, and the animals and the environment, all of it. We truly are connected and related. So thanks for bringing this this topic, this important conversation.
Well, I was reminded as you were speaking about relationship and who we can talk to and who we can connect with. And of course, ideally, who I would like to connect with are people just like us. You know?
Everybody wants.
Right.
We are choosing our group normally.
But of course, that makes a very small audience. Yeah. So we've got to spread things out a little more broadly than that, and it's really tricky because there are some people that, unfortunately, right now, as much as I can love them in principle, I can't really talk to them very well, and I need to learn how, some way, not necessarily to convince them of this or that, but to actually just relate to them in some kind of human way, that leaves open the possibility for further communication. Talk to your enemies is important, among other things. And they too can be human in some way. And your work is very convincing in letting us know how we can reach out and find people and talk to them and move them, and it's wonderful work. It's priceless.
Yeah. This is, I wanted to say, normally we have a group of people around us, no? And then it's relatively easy to enter in relationships or not, depends. And now we are operating on a global level here. And if we want to talk to people, we really need to find a way to talk to them. And as Mark said, and as you said before, you want to be related with people even if they are not thinking like you. So how is it that you are doing that? How do you find the right language or the right way of addressing these people and to create the relationship with them?
Yeah, that's a great question. And I want to bring it back to what Lisa and I really specialize in, because we're working, with this idea of relationship in the context of business. And in even more refined, it's the context of your marketing. And, I used to have a different perspective of marketing. I worked in corporate advertising, big, multinational agencies for 9 years in New York City, advertising and marketing, and I thought it was just about selling stuff, pushing stuff, convincing people to buy things that they don't need. And it took a while in my own personal journey for me to come around to the realization that marketing really is about creating relationships. And so Lisa and I, our focus really is on engagement, right, and relationship building using marketing as your vehicle. So I think in order to connect with as many people as possible, first of all, you need to be aligned with your truth and in integrity with who you are and what you stand for, what you as a person stand for, what your business or your brand also stands for, and then communicating that out. That's usually how marketing happens. It's like outward, but what we're teaching is really a two-way conversation. So Lisa, do you want to say a little bit more about that? That really is your area of specialty, the how do you do that engagement part in the marketing context?
Yeah, I'd actually love to take the discussion a step back for a second and to give context, because I feel like you went in and opened up this piece about relationship and how do we relate, and the feeling piece around love, and I want to maybe put a different definition to, because love and relationship, if we think about this, then this will get to the marketing piece, I promise. If we take a step back and go, okay, well, maybe we can have a different definition for love. And as opposed to love, most of us define love as a feeling. What if we could define love as a perception? So that love is actually a seeing, a perceiving. Kim's touched on it for a moment there. It's the seeing in someone else the uniqueness of who they really are, right? So, and it's that perception that then creates a feeling. Now, if our perception is, this is, of course, a practice in and of itself. If your perception is, oh, that person's an asshole, then you're going to feel angry and whatnot. But now let's take this into the realm of how we reach out and how we engage with our ideal client. And again, within the context of as an entrepreneur, we are outrageous lovers. And if you are a lover, that means you love. And if you love, that means you're seeing things, right? You have love as a perception. And so I know it's like this is at big meta level. And diving in from that perspective, then we can begin to see that it's our relating comes from the perception that we are having of our ideal clients. So one of the things that Kim and I do right in the beginning when we work with our clients is we try, or we don't even try, we do. We have a practice essentially of how to see our ideal clients so that we can relate with them in a very deep way. And this all comes from asking questions and having inquiry. And when you ask the right questions of your ideal clients as an entrepreneur, they'll give you answers that allow you to see and perceive them very differently than if you were to just guess, like, oh, I think my ideal client is a 45-year-old woman who, is a busy mom, and where you're guessing as opposed to asking and receiving the answers so that you can therefore see them different. I know I was taking that, but I wanted to keep it within, I know you guys are within the integral model, so I was trying to pull in those pieces to the discussion as well.
Yeah, wonderful.
Yep.
Great. So you talk about practices and you talk about asking questions. Yes. When you have, we are now talking about lists, you send out a questionnaire to ask questions, but if you don't have a list and you are not yet inside of any business, what do you do to ask questions to your ideal clients? Who is it? who do you ask?
That's a good one.
Kim, do you want to take that?
Sure. I think the answer to that is you start wherever you are. I remember when I left corporate and I decided I was going to work for myself, I was going to start my own business, I started by asking my ex-bosses, my ex-colleagues, my friends, my relatives, everybody I knew, everybody almost that I came into contact with. I'm like, hey, I'm thinking about doing this thing. It's kind of different. I'm a little nervous about it. I'm leaving the security of like the corporate world, but I know that I'm actually meant to serve in a different way. I'm actually meant to do and teach business and be a consultant for business in a different way. What do you think about this? How does this land with you? And I was just in conversation with people about it. So I think sometimes we get stopped because we're like, oh, if I don't have a list of 500 or 5,000 and I can't send the regimented survey in this exact perfect way, what am I going to do? But I got, I really just opened my heart. I got really vulnerable, and I even asked my friends, I asked ex-bosses from 2 jobs back, like, here's what I'm doing. Do you know anybody that could use this? Right? Or how does this sound to you? Would you pass this on for me, please? Would you do me a favor? And sometimes it's the hardest thing to ask for help, but it opened up so many more new possibilities, and me getting vulnerable about it helped them actually trust me more. And I got more referrals out of that than I think I got greater success out of that than if I had just waited to be, have a big enough list to have it all look perfect the way that I thought it was supposed to look.
And I would add that the other place you can go, most of us are on social media these days, especially Facebook, go to the groups where that you're a part of and ask questions in those groups, these types of questions as well. Like Kim said, start where you are. You don't have to have a list. And these days, with technology at our fingertips, we actually have more access to this type of information than we've ever had before. So leverage that. Leverage the technology that you have at your fingertips that's free, and the people that are already coming together to discuss a certain topic. If you're a health and fitness person, for instance, and you belong to a group for women in weight loss, you can listen. That's one of the things that Kim and I teach, is this concept, right? Relating to someone requires not just speaking, but listening as well. So going into these groups, listening to what they're saying and asking questions that way as well.
This is great. Yeah. What comes to me, Kim, to ask you, so you would recommend to go back to people you had the contact even 5 years ago, even if you hadn't maintained the contact, but you still have the email address, and you would be so courageous to ask them to help you?
You know, I think, Heidi, that I think it would be easier for some people than others. And for myself, because relationships are so important to me, as I know they are to both of you, I feel that I don't like to leave any situation burning a bridge or, you know, with anything incomplete. So I'm really committed to like getting complete with anybody from my past. And so, yeah, I would contact anybody. I would feel maybe a slight hesitation, sometimes nervous, like, wow, that guy was the CEO of the company. But you know what? I know him, and I know that he would probably want to help me, you know. And if he doesn't, that's okay too, right? And I would approach it with also reciprocity, like, how can I support you? You know, here's what I'm up to right now in the world. What are you up to? And be really curious and ask questions, you know, to that other person. I think people so appreciate when we reach out and, you know, oh my gosh, like, do something crazy, write a handwritten letter, you know, do something unexpected. I think people appreciate it.
Yeah, so you would write, or would you also just pick up the telephone and call them?
Yeah, sometimes it depends. I'd pick up the phone and call. Sometimes I'd write. Sometimes I'd email. It depends on, you know, the connection. And I think you just have to kind of feel in, like, what feels good to you. I mean, there's a lot of people I'm now connected with on Facebook or LinkedIn. So I feel like I could just send them a direct message that way. And I also would look at their pages and see, what are they up to? Wow, hey, and find a conversation opener. Hey, I see that you got a new job last year. Hey, I see that you got a promotion. Oh, I see that you know, your daughter had a baby. You're a grandfather now. Like, how can you connect and relate?
Exactly. What are the skills? But you want to say something. I'm always taking over.
Well, that's all right. But anyway, you know, Kim, you spoke a few minutes ago about not waiting until you've got a list, you know, not needing to take that route. You don't wait till you have so many hundred or so many thousand, and then you dive in. And it just reminds me of this tendency I have living here in Italy, that when I get really good at Italian, then I'll start speaking it. You know, which isn't a very helpful approach at all. And I'm listening very closely to what you're advising about finding these old relationships. I mean, I know a lot of people. I've got, I don't know, 1,200 friends of some degree or another on Facebook, but most of them, I don't really know what they're up to. You know?
And there comes in what Lisa says, the listening. And I think, can you maybe go a little bit more about listening, the importance of listening and how to listen exactly? I mean, you named it already, but can you go deeper?
Yeah, sure. So listening is obviously communication is a two-way street. There's the talking and there's the listening piece. And both Kim and I strongly believe that we live in a time right now where there is a connection crisis, meaning that now more than ever, we're more connected than ever, and yet people are not feeling seen and they're not feeling heard. What's the outcome of this? Well, what I see a lot of happening is a lot of people talking about me, me, me. Here's what's going on in my life. Here's my product. Do you want to work with me? This is about me, you know, and even your problem, Heidi, is about me. So I might answer you post something about your problem, and then I'm like, well, what I do with my clients who have this problem, I make it about me, you know, as opposed to about you. So it's a nuance. It really, truly is a nuance. So like I said, Kim and I believe that we're lacking in authentic connection and communication, and it begins with this piece of listening. And I'm assuming that most of us that are here right now watching live or in replay have done some work around communication or relationship and understand this concept of reflecting back or empathizing with people. And all that simply is listening and, you know, a heartfelt response back that truly shows you care and that you're listening, you're empathizing, you can relate, but it's not about you. It's about the other person first. And just by doing that through this social listening piece, people start to gradually feel connected. They start to feel seen and heard. One of the biggest things that we're dealing with these days online is because people don't feel connected and because it's happened for so long, they're very, very skeptical, right? Because everybody's out there for themselves, or at least that's how it seems. So what we need to do is to overcome that skepticism is be available in a really open way, like Kim was saying, to connect through empathetic listening.
Mm-hmm. And reflecting back, as you said, no, this is one of the skills of creating relationships. What do you use and would you recommend to people to create the relationships and to overcome the me thing?
What did you say? What tool would you use? I missed that piece there.
Yeah, what tool? Because the listening and reflecting back what you have heard is one of the tools which create in the other person the feeling, oh, I'm heard. They have understood what I'm saying. So, you know, you can use that. But there might be others, and I'm wondering what else you are using.
Well, I think that that's a great start right there. In terms of doing it, it means committing yourself to being present on a platform, like whether it's Facebook or Google Plus or LinkedIn, that another practice is to show up. Like, show up, be there on a regular and consistent basis, because that's this part of the engagement marketing that's so important, is being consistent over time, showing up, and having this piece of letting people know, yes, I'm here, I care, and really it's nothing. There's nothing hard about it, except that it's something that people tend to ignore because it takes time and effort to do it. But we like to say the return on engagement, right? There's a return on engagement instead of a return on investment. You have a return on engagement. Over time, your energy and effort into that engagement will have an ROI in your business.
I think that there's also it was a great question you asked, like how can you do it? Because I think that it really comes down to how do we evolve? You know, as human beings, how do we evolve? So in the integral model, from one level to the next, right? And so one of the things that had the most profound impact in my life and also for business was having life coach training. I did a 3-year, advanced life coach training program, and I practiced daily deep inquiry for myself and then also for others, right? So how can I show up every day being as curious as possible, right? And it's like curiosity. It's like this salve for the soul. I think like just when I was curious, instead of trying to show something or prove something or stand up and stand out, I just got curious. Then it was so much more powerful, and people felt so much more connected and related to me and me to them, that it did so much more than me trying to force and show and prove something. So I think that in looking at like what are some business practices we can employ, actually the first thing we need to do is work on ourselves. That's Absolutely. What came to me when you asked that question.
I thought you'd say something like that. Yes.
No, it's true. It's actually really true. And what we are doing here with the show is encourage people to do that. When we're talking about integral, the stages of development, and going into integral, where we can see all other levels, and hopefully learn to speak the language of all other levels, to be able to connect with them and things like that. Yeah. We need to do that first, and then we can go out into the world. I mean, we can go out into the world before, but I think it is if we want really to connect with people, when we go from an egocentric way, as you said, me, and I can do that for you, and if you don't do that now, then the hell will break out for you, or something like that. I don't think that's the right way of doing. I wanted to say another thing about showing up. You named showing up, and what I so liked when I came into Google Plus, and here what we are using, the Hangouts, that we are showing up even with our faces, with our wrinkles and strangenesses, so that people can see us and can feel connected, and then we can also talk with them easily, with all these tools, which even now on Facebook I heard that they are, and Skype before and everything, as opposed to what I sometimes see in Facebook, that people are saying, this is right and you are wrong, this is right and you are wrong, and what I say is right. So when in a strange way sometimes, and when you see each other, I think it's a little bit a game changer. Yes, what do you think about that?
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely, it's a game changer. I have been a huge fan of the video, and in particular the live stream video, not pre-recorded videos where you have a script. There's a time and a place for that in business, but it's a platform that we can leverage to be much more transparent in the way that we connect and relate to people, because you can't hide from who you are. A really great example of this that I had was, I also do all of my live, all of my coaching, one-on-one coaching, through live video as well, which I know a lot of coaches do these days. And I was doing a process with my client, and it was an inquiry process with her. And it was literally just asking her one question over and over again, and her responses were so different from her body language and what her face and her body was doing, that I knew she wasn't telling the truth, not because she, you know, was trying to hide it, like unconsciously, like not aware. And this is what happens when we are able to be live, face to face. We can no longer, this transparency piece is so huge. It used to be that marketers or, you know, business owners would hide behind text and images, and you couldn't see them or not trust them. But when you get someone in front of a camera and you see their energy and who they are, it's a game changer. Like you said, Heidi, things change because you can see the nuances in a person's body language. What a person says just through their body language. People, Kim, I don't know if you remember that statistic that we used in our talk that we did about that. You know, the guy, the body language. There's a professor from UCLA who did a whole study on what people believe, and it's like, I can't remember the exact numbers, but you know, people will believe, I'm going to make these up, they're not right, but I'm just going to say them. People will believe like 20% of what you say, but they'll believe 75% of what they see. So I'm sort of screwing up the way they say it, but the point being that when you can see someone and someone can see you, they're going to believe what they see in front of the camera. So it really, especially for heart-centered entrepreneurs, conscious entrepreneurs who are so open and transparent medium of video, especially live, not non-scripted, puts you in at an advantage.
And that also puts a heavier responsibility on us, because we cannot craft our message for the 20% that they'll understand. They have to take the whole person. So we have to transmit something that is really authentic about ourselves and about our product and what our service is. So it really is a jump up to another level of communicating.
Yeah, I would say the writing is one step, and then the next one is listening to the voices. Mm-hmm. This is already quite good, because you have an intuition about what the person is saying, but often not 100%. Mm-hmm. And then when you have all three things together, the text, the voice, the sound of the voice, and what you see, this is most complete, you know. I mean, here we see only an upper part, and underneath it could be I don't know what. So
don't ask
you don't see how we walk and things like this, or if we have the legs crossed or whatever, which is also a part of the body language. But at least we can see what we do with the hands all the time, what we do with the mouth
and the facial expression. Like your face says everything, so it's all in your face. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So when we go back to business and about people who would be interested in what you offer, when you offer a webinar like this, and not with all the slides only, and they never see you, it's much more likely that they like you. And we know, all decisions, even if we have a lot of rational thoughts about it, but all decisions at the end are emotional. When we choose something, we can have 1,000 reasons to choose it, but at the end, what we choose is because we feel to choose it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
That's right. And, you look at also the statistics. Oh, sorry. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah. In addition to your feeling, I mean, it's subconscious, right? Like our subconscious mind is running the show so much of the time. So it's also, all of the our past that we're carrying with us to help inform those decisions too. So I think if someone can see you, listen to you, they'll know, do they feel a connection or not, I think, very quickly. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I conclude from what I have heard so far is that when we have a mission and something what we want to bring into the world, we have to jump into live video transmissions so that people can connect with us and see us. And I mean, I don't talk about us. I talk about the people who want to bring their message out, because, you know, I go back to my life when I was a singer, and I was always waiting for somebody to find me, you know, how well I sang and so on. And I never went to anybody to present myself. So how can they know? It's really very little chance that somebody finds out about you if you don't go out and show yourself, you know. In this case, it was about singing, but also there you have, you know, you have to come up. And I normally didn't fit into the codex of how a classical singer should be, because I don't use 3 kilos of makeup and high heels and stuff. So I wasn't seen. So what do we need to do when we want to do what we really like to do and bring it out for the best of the world, for the benefit of the world? We have to show up. So, and I know you both, you are helping people to show up. I, by the way, do too, but in a completely different way. We are talking about you. So how do you do that?
Yeah. How do you show up?
Yeah, so I think that you brought up some good points. And, you know, when you're an entrepreneur, you have to show up so that you can share your gifts in the world. So like you're saying, Heidi, so that people can see, hey, I'm a singer, and do you want to hire me for this or that? So there's these different levels, right? We talked about social listening, where you're listening with people. There's also this piece of the networking piece, social networking, like really getting in front of, or putting yourself out there. It's like you have to show up, and for people to know that you're there and connect with them, whether that be I show up on your Hangout show, and you know, I become a regular not guest but attendee, and you start to notice. In the same way you could do that in for instance, a Facebook group where it's not your group, but it's someone that is in your industry that you want to connect with, and you show up often and make meaningful comments and create some conversation. And then there's the other piece that we can't ignore, because you can't have a business and do your work in the world unless you're making profits, unless you're making money. So while all of this is great, at some point you do have to sell. You do have to have that social, using the social piece of the live video or whatever it is that you use to make your offerings to the world. However, I think what a lot of people are doing these days is they just do that one piece, is they just use their platforms and live stream video for selling, and they forget those other pieces of the listening and the networking and connecting and all of that. But if you've done it right, you've really cultivated and nurtured relationships over time, so that by the time that it comes for you to make your offering to those people who need it most, it becomes like, oh yeah, I know Heidi, I know Mark, I've been, you know, I've gone to, yeah, I totally trust them, I love what they're doing, I'd love that, you know, to work with them. So it becomes the barriers to entry for them are so much lower, because you've already built those relationships, you've built the trust, which is what every relationship, the foundation of a good relationship is trust, right? So if we go back to what we were talking about in the beginning, most people online are pretty skeptical. So if you do your job of cultivating and nurturing, you're going to sort of dissolve that skepticism and transform it into trust, so that when you get to the point where it's time to make your offering, it's much easier.
Yeah. Thank you. Kim, you?
Oh gosh, I think Lisa said it so well. I just wanted to make one point of clarification to what you were saying earlier about, like, we have to get on video, we have to use this. And I think that it's really great if you can, you know, and I think that especially, so if you're listening to this and you have a service-based business that you are delivering the service, or you're kind of heading up the delivery of that service, so you're teaching, you're consulting, you're a speaker, you're an author, you're a thought leader of some kind, then I think what we're talking about here, the engagement marketing, the platforms, and using live stream video is so invaluable for you. But if you have a company where you're manufacturing vitamins and you're selling vitamins and the product, is its own thing, then I see people using this platform a little bit less, but I see that if you did use it, you could give yourself a leg up in your business, because people are buying more from brands that they personally connect with now in today's age. They want to know that you stand for something. So I just went to a conference. We have a big festival in Austin called South by Southwest, Music, Film, and Interactive, and there was a company called Kind. Their name is Kind, and they make nutritional bars. And they had this whole booth around how can you be kind, and how are you going to be kind today, and show kindness, and they were giving all these things away, and I was like, wow, that is a brand I can really connect to. And they were giving back and donating to an organization that helps put fresh water into places where people don't have fresh water. And I was like, I feel so connected to this brand now. I'm definitely going to buy from them more. But it's a nutritional bar. It's not a person. However, they were able to bring personality and relatedness and connection and relationship into their brand. So think about that for yourself. How could you do that with your business, with your work in the world? How could you really start infusing more connectedness, relatedness, and relationship? I think it would really serve.
Yeah, which means that, in effect, we have to consider more than just one bottom line in our business. We have to have the connections and the responsibilities and the interactions with so many aspects of our life in the world that we're not going to continue and be of real service if we're just looking at the profit only. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but as Lisa said, not always doing everything for nothing. We also have a certain moment you even have to do an offer. And then I would come back to your course, which you are doing just now, and where I really am amazed because I have learned a lot. Would you like to talk a little bit about that? Wake up and change the world.
Do you want me to talk about it, Kim? Okay. Yeah, so what Heidi is speaking about is the course that Kim and I, it's our flagship course called the Evolutionary Business Accelerator. And essentially we hand hold, it's pretty much by invitation, a select group of entrepreneurs who are ready to up-level their business, to grow their business in a significant way, and giving them the systems and processes that they need in order to cultivate those relationships over time so that we can have a way to share our offerings, and not just our high-end offerings, meaning like not just our $1,000 or $2,000 or $5,000 coaching program or whatever it might be, but that we have an integrated suite of offerings, because you know, when you're in relationship, the analogy that is made a lot in the sales world, sales and marketing world, is, you know, you don't ask, a guy shouldn't be asking a girl to marry him on the first date. That's sort of yucky, right? And yet that's what we see happening all the time with people. They're like, hey, do you want to join my, you know, $5,000 program, without even developing a relationship first. So in the program, in the Evolutionary Business Accelerator, what Kim and I are really teaching, and it's not really teaching, it's an implementation course. I think Heidi can attest to that, that we're not just telling you what to do, we're telling you how to do it, and we're getting in there and helping you to develop out the foundation that you need, the systems and processes to cultivate and nurture relationships over time, so that people are taken on a journey and ascended up through your ladder of offerings, of higher and higher level offerings.
So Heidi, I'm just curious, because you're in the program, you've also done programs with Lisa in the past. What do you, I think it would be helpful for other people to just hear your words. We didn't rehearse this, obviously. So, but what are you most getting out of the program?
For me, it's just amazing to get a real guidance what to do, and not only here you have to do that and that and that and that, but you give us the instructions. Yeah, it's instructions and the guidance to do it, to really do it, and then you revision it and say, okay, you could do it better in this way and this way. It's a real. We are fortunately not so many people, so we get a really personal advice for that. And I mean, I follow Lisa for a long time, and I have learned really a lot of her. So the trust is. Has been there from the beginning, and when this program came out, I thought that's what I need, because I finally need to earn some money, and I don't know how. For all my life, I have worked for, or not all, but quite a bit. I've worked for gratis. With my ex-husband, I did, you know, the first husband, he was in the office, and I did writing, and I did all sorts of things, and never got money. And only with my singing, I got money, but I had to go 70 kilometers to teach, and I feel I don't want to do that anymore, and so I want to do something from home. And how can I get money from that? Mm-hmm. And I love so much to do these shows with you and other guests, because I like learning. But who pays me for learning? Mm-hmm. So with your help, I am now confident, maybe not tomorrow, but that I will get it to do the right steps to earn a little bit of money. And in that case, I would like the listeners to really give us some money and buy the replays. It costs only $29, and you get the whole replays of the whole season, 24, 25 videos, and all edited, all this in the Blab. Sometimes there is 5 minutes, 10 minutes of interruption. I have cut it all out. I have learned to do the video things. So
I do the timestamps.
And he does the timestamps. So please, 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 please go to our website and buy this $29 thing, because we need some money to live. Thank you.
Well,
anyway,
she came right out and just did it, didn't she? Just like that. Okay. Right.
And I'm learning that from you, and I will follow you, even if I'm a little bit behind, but I will catch up and do everything. So I really recommend it to do, when its program comes up again, to take it, jump in. Who wants to get their word out?
Yeah. Well, I learned some of this by the trickle-down method. I'm in the room too, usually when your show is on, your presentations are on. So I get the benefit of it also. And what really strikes me in the background there is that you both have a real framework, a clear framework in which you base all the things you tell us, but then you can be very specific and very clear about details, step by step. This, this, then this. And so such simple things as the order of creating videos, from the first to the last. Very important. And we never thought of that.
And I always have to say, now we have to do it, because he listens to you, but he doesn't want to do it by himself.
The implementation is critical, right? The implementation, and I think what you're pointing to is one of the things that we see so many online business owners and conscious entrepreneurs doing is not focusing on the correct activities based on their stage of business growth. And it might not even be that you have a focus problem, it's just not focusing on the right thing. And how do you know what the right thing is to do? Sometimes it's just haphazard. I guess I'll focus over here, and that ends up not being the right thing to do. So Kim and I are really big with helping you not only focus, but focus on the right thing, and then not only focus on the right thing, but implement that right thing in your business right away.
Okay.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So we are almost at the end.
Mm-hmm.
I will now post the link to the Blab. We will have an after show Blab, as I think there's so many inputs here in this shows that if you want to talk with us and with them, I don't know if you have time to come over for a moment, would be really nice to talk with people. And let me post this.
Mm-hmm.
Just a minute. Can you do the closing, please?
I can.
Okay.
Well, we are at that point where it's just time to wrap up. And so I'm wondering if there's any final words or anything we really want to let us know about. Either one of you taking, I don't know, shall we start with Kim this time?
Sure. I just want to say thank you so much for having us on, and for those of you who are listening and you're feeling inspired maybe by what Heidi shared around creating a home-based business, having that freedom to create an online business so you don't have to drive 75 miles to sing or whatever it is for you. We'd love to connect with you and talk about what we're doing at Wake Up and Change the World, and we are totally accessible, so you can email us at support@wakeupandchangetheworld.com at any time. We'd love to have a conversation with you, be related with you, and kind of see what you're up to in the world. So thank you both for bringing us on. I actually can't stay on for the hangout after, so I'm going to log off, but thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Oh, thank you, Kim.
Thank you. And I wanted to say they really speak with you on video.
Yeah, they actually talk to you, yeah.
It's not just an empty promise. They do it.
Yeah, we do that too.
We do that.
Yes, of course.
Okay, let's go to Lisa.
And Lisa, yes.
Yeah, thanks so much, Heidi and Mark. It's always wonderful to come on to your show. I think this is my third time, I think, now on your show. So yeah, it's just always wonderful. And also I just want to acknowledge you, Heidi, especially for your tech. You say you're the tech person in the family, and you truly are, and you've made such huge leaps and bounds, like quantum leaps since I first met you. And what you have really been doing with your hangouts and how well you've been relating. So I just want to acknowledge that and let you know that I'm proud of you. And unfortunately, I can't stay either for the Blab. I have another appointment I have to get to. But Kim gave everybody our support at Wake Up and Change the World. You can also connect with us. We'd love for you to connect with us on Facebook. Kim, what's our Facebook? It's not Wake Up and Change the World is not the name of our page, is it? Because we couldn't get that. I
think it's wake.up.change.the.world.
Forget it. That's the Wake Up and Change the World.
Just go Just go search for Wake Up and Change the World. You'll see Lisa and my picture in a circle, black and white photo. That's us. And connect with us there.
Right. Yeah. So
I know that.
So,
yes.
thank you that you were here, and in the Blab we will talk about you.
Since they're not going to be there, we'll talk about them.
Yeah.
okay.
No, really. Thank you, Elaine.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Soon. Bye.
Wonderful to be
And thank
here.
everybody
Thanks so
who has listened. And I was aware now is the time change, and somebody might have lost the right time in Europe at least, because this was set up in American time. So there will be somebody. And replay is free for today's, and then please
For all of them.
for all the replays. Okay.
All right.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you in the
Bye-bye.
Blab. 50 minutes after the hour. Okay. Bye-bye.